What's up guys, AJ here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how to make more money and work less as a real estate agent. The first thing that I want you to think of is discipline creates freedom. Not only does discipline create more time freedom by having a daily schedule, but it also creates financial freedom because when you have a strong daily schedule, eventually you should create financial freedom if you're good with your money, right? So what does that look like for a real estate agent? Well, first it's identifying how are you going to be spending your time. IPAs, income producing activities. If you focus on listings, you're going to make more money because it's a more leveraged activity. The reality is, if you have say 5 listing clients, it probably takes the same amount of work to sell those 5 houses as it does one buyer. Especially in a hot market like we're still in right now, where you might have to show 50 houses, you might have to write 5 offers to get one accepted. It's really crazy because houses are selling so fast, multiple offers, but really in any market, listing the house, putting it in the MLS, marketing it takes less time than having to go show buyers houses, write offers. A lot of times they don't get accepted and you got to go show more houses. So listings are just a lot more leveraged. As you can see here, I'm still in northern Michigan. I'm out in the middle of the woods on this dirt road. So I'm gonna go for a cruise here in a second. Absolutely been enjoying our time here in northern Michigan, doing a little 3-week tour of the Upper Peninsula in northern Michigan, so it's been a lot of fun. Now that you're thinking about why being a listing agent makes sense, I want you to start thinking about how can you craft your ideal schedule. So going back to discipline creates freedom. The closer you can be to following your schedule, the better off you're going to be. And I want you to always be thinking about, if it's not in my schedule, it doesn't exist. So be thinking, what income producing activities are in my schedule? A great morning for a real estate agent starts with practicing your skills, right? Practicing your scripts, but then diving right into lead generation, right into prospecting. Brian Tracy talks about eat that frog first. And for agents, that frog is definitely prospecting. Most agents don't want to do it. And they're like, oh, I'll do it in the afternoon, but they never get around to it. So if you build the habit of just prospecting in the mornings, you're more likely to get it done. And honestly, it doesn't matter what you do with the rest of your day, as long as you get the prospecting in. Because what I found, especially if you're newer in the business or you don't have as much business as you want, it's because you're not generating enough leads. You're not setting enough appointments. So when you build this habit for months, like you gotta do this for 3, 6, 9 months before you really build out this sales pipeline with all these leads that you've been following up with. And once you do that, what starts to happen is your business explodes. So I always tell a new agent, just focus on those first 3 hours. And I don't even care if you go home for the rest of the day, because what's gonna happen after you nail those first 3 hours for a few weeks even, is you're gonna start setting appointments. And then what happens when you set an appointment? Well, now you gotta figure out comps. You gotta prepare to go on that appointment. So your afternoons start to fill up with other income producing activities, which is going on appointments. The only income producing activities for a real estate agent is prospecting, lead generation, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. So the more of that you do in your schedule, the better off you are, the more money you're going to make. Now at this point, you're probably thinking, well, that sounds great, but the reality is my clients are pulling me every which direction. I have other family commitments I need to, fulfill and all these other things. But remember, discipline creates freedom. When you allow your clients to pull you in all these different directions, the opposite thing you have is freedom. So how can you apply these boundaries to your business so that you have more freedom? When I was getting started, I made it a point that my schedule was so ironclad, especially in the morning, that nothing else could interfere. So starting at 8 a.m., I was on the phones prospecting every day at 8 a.m. If a client called, I didn't answer. If the prospects that I was calling were calling me back, I didn't answer. I let them go to voicemail. If someone was knocking at my office door, I didn't answer. If I was hungry, I had food in there with me, so I didn't allow any distractions to allow me to get off my schedule, especially for those first 3 hours. The rest of your day can have a little more flex, but I'm telling you, when you nail that first 3-hour time block, amazing things are going to happen. You might also be thinking, when you have all these clients, that you're going to be too busy, like how do you fulfill all of their needs? This is what I did. I worked some buyers, but I focused on sellers primarily. So I'd sell a handful of buyers a year, and they're always my sellers that needed to also buy a house. But when working with listings, you have the luxury of not going on appointments during the weekend if you choose not to, whereas buyers, you got to get out there and show houses, right? Because buyers have the weekends off, so they want to go show houses. Nights, buyers want to go see houses after they get home from work if a new listing hits the market, right? Sellers, you just list the property. As a mosquito. You just list the property, and then in the evenings when you're relaxing at home, on the weekends when you're out with your family, other buyers are out there showing the properties, right? It gives you more freedom. It allows you to work less. Whereas buyer agents feel like they're always on, they're always at the beck and call of their clients, because the main job of a buyer's agent is to get out there, show property, right? And you got to get out there when a new listing hits the market. As a listing agent, you essentially list the property, price it right, do your initial marketing, and pricing in the MLS sells most houses. You got to do things like obviously do a great consultation, help them on how they might want to stage the home. You got to price it right. That's the number one factor for house selling is the price. But then you get your nights and weekends off. About once a week I'd work in the evenings, and some Saturdays I would work to do the appointments. But other than that, I had most of that time off. Whereas other agents just feel like they're working non-stop. So what's interesting is by setting boundaries with your clients, you actually buy back a lot of your time. So if you're thinking, well, if an offer comes in, I gotta negotiate that offer, I gotta present it to my seller, right? The answer is no, you don't. You prepare your seller for what they can expect. When you're listing the house, you let them know, hey, we're going to list the house on Friday, and I'm gonna put in the agent remarks on the MLS that all offers are due by Sunday night at 8 p.m. or whatever your deadline is. And then you let them know, hey, and then I'm going to call you on Monday with all the offers, and we're going to go over them at the same time. And then we're going to look at the offers together at the same time and pick the best one. So they're not expecting you to reach out over the weekend with offers coming in because you set the expectation correctly. Another expectation I would set with my clients is that I work from 8 to 6 or whatever hours you prefer to work are. So I'd say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm usually done working by about 6 p.m. because unlike other agents, I actually get in the office on time and I start my day. I always start with lead generation, looking for buyers for my sellers and sellers for my buyers. That's what makes me different from every other agent, that I'm always proactively marketing to get your property sold. So from 8 to 11 every single day, I'll be prospecting, but if you need to get a hold of me, then just reach out and I'll call you as soon as I'm done with that prospecting session. And if it's after 6 p.m., of course don't hesitate to email me or call me, but just know that I might not answer because I'm probably with my family like you are, so I'll get back to you early the next day. Real estate's one of the only professions where we feel like we always need to be on 24/7. And it's no way to live. If you've been an agent for a while, if you've been a top producer for a while, you know that the burnout rate's so high in real estate, so having these boundaries are absolutely crucial. There's a law to life that I learned that says work fills the time allowed. So when you feel like you're always on, you're always working, and you're gonna start early in the morning and you're gonna stop late at night, if a client calls you, you're going to answer at 8 p.m., then there's no real sense of urgency to your day. There's no hard cutoff. So when you set a cutoff time to your day, you know whatever is on your list to get done that day has to get done because you're going to have a cutoff. You're going to go home and spend time with your family. So those activities are not going to leak into your family time. This is essential. Whenever I find myself feeling like, man, you know, these activities, these projects that I'm working on are taking longer than I expected, I always go back and look, hey, I didn't set a firm deadline and I didn't have accountability around it, and I'm allowing myself to kind of just always work on that project. And that's how most real estate agents operate. So be thinking, if you need to get X, Y, and Z done, say, hey, I'm gonna get it done from 12 to 3 this Tuesday. No time outside of that, I gotta get it done. And I can promise you, you'll get it done. Think about the last time you went on vacation. If you've gone on vacation as a real estate agent, how productive were you the days leading up to that? You felt like you had to get everything done. It's just the fact that all employees, the day before they leave on vacation, they're so productive, they're getting so much done, and they just wonder why that is. It's because they got a hard deadline. The work is filling the time allowed. So by doing these things and having this philosophy around work and using these tips and strategies that I'm talking about, what you'll find is that discipline creates freedom. You'll be working less and making more money.